I'm very happy to be here and to take part in this international forum on a subject that I have been working on for some time. I can honestly say that the discussion today has given me more reasons to continue following this subject and to promote its growth in Europe. Firstly, I must to clarify the concept. Collaborative consumption is the name for the opinion in the European Union, but it's not all the title. The title is collaborative or participatory consumption. But why? Why is the reason? The reason is in the European Union, we work in multilingualism, and all the paper is translated in 25 different languages. And in this case, to speak, the collaborative consumption is well in all languages except the German. And the German give to add the participatory consumption. What's the reason? The reason is in German, in the Second War, the collaborative is a name pejorative and keep the add participatory consumption. This is, well, I speak about the consumer. This is the consumer collaborative consumption. What's collaboration consumption in Europe? For us, is the traditional way. It's sharing, swapping, lending, renting, and giving, redefined through modern technology. I remember when I studied 33 years ago, I live in Paris, but in Christmas, I need to come back to Spain. I am a student. I read the newspaper, and in the newspaper is the people, I go to the 21 December to come back to Spain. I have a car with 4 places. Call to this telephone. Well, the concept, there are. But now is the potentiality with internet and with the network. This is very important. This is no means a new idea. It's actually the revival of a practice that benefits from today's means. The gradual succession of the current system creates a need for alternative in a future anchored in digital network. In Europe, there are a program, your title is Europe 2020 strategy, is proposed that the consumption of goods and services should take place in accordance with smart, sustainable, and inclusive growth, have an impact on job creation, productivity, economic, and social and territorial cohesion. This is very important in Europe, the economic, social, and territorial cohesion in all the European policies. Well, the origin is the excess of hyperconsumption have helped products in inequality gap between producing and consuming region, social exclusion and obesity coexisting unhappily, and collaborative consumption can offer an additional market tool for quick starting and regenerating the single market. This one is in Europe on think is additional possibility, but not the solution. It's additional possibility with the market. In the magazine Forbes, 2 years ago, estimate the revenue streams around US state dollars, $3.5 billion to the consumer collaborative. It's not simply about the ownership of gold, shared access to their benefits in order to fulfill real needs. In conventional consumer society, products are intended for individual ownership, rapid consumption, and early disposal. Collaborative consumption is a creation of durable products designed for intensive use by several people throughout the life of a single consumer of user. And the new technology, both peer-to-peer and social network, demonstrate the importance. But there are two conceptions to the market, internal market now, and the future with the collaborative consumption and the good and durable products. In Europe, the origin is a result of the economic crisis. The platform have emerged for the buying and selling of second-hand wedding dresses and accessories, the private accommodation, rental car. There are communities where users post a task like collecting a package and indicate the price they are offering. A telling example is a large number of tools that rarely use the piece their cost. In Europe, the alternative modes of consumption are bartering, 99%, renting, 22%, the group purchasing, 19%, do it yourself is 12%, the buying locally, a new modality from the buyer. The second-hand purchasing is the 19%. The key is linking people who need access to a resource with others that have said resource. The relation is based on sense of community, sharing and participation among users. Develop an alternative form of consumption in a context of transparency. In terms of the responsibility of the platform that promote collaborative consumption, the power of collaboration and sharing through technology will consequently change the way we think about ownership and business relations by offering convenient and often cheaper alternative. Collaborative consumption initiative make the best use of existing resources and prevent the unnecessary manufacture of new products. In short, sharing is both financially sound and sustainable. The concept of collaborative or participatory consumption will provide an opportunity for the most vulnerable group who may have been excluded by the service or product. Those who are able to access the good and service market in the normal way, but who consciously choose not to do so out of committing to their personal values. Collaborative consumption has a number of direct effects. such as lower resource consumption and CO2 emissions, higher demand for good quality products if the product has to be lent, hired, or repaired. Is a market is new. Promote the eco-design, benefits a number of different uses, durability, and repeated customization of compatible products. It encourages access to high-quality products for low-income consumers. Collaborative consumption share many of the European Union policy objectives, especially where the single market is concerned, such as creating resource efficiency and boosting social innovation to create the jobs and economic prosperity. Under the concept of collaborative or participatory consumption, we sharing economy can be considered to consist of 4 areas. First is the consumer to consumer but by a business to business, and business to consumer. As can be seen, collaborative consumption practice can apply to any aspect of the daily life in Europe now, such as mobility, car sharing, rental, and shared use of vehicle, including taxis and bicycles and parking place, and carpooling, which means filling empty cars seat with other passengers going in the same direction. The energy efficiency for the shared use of household utensils, accommodation, and areas from growing food is the rental room, shared housing, and urban and rural allotment. The business, co-working and sharing offices space, communication, the mobile platform where users can buy and sell goods and services to people living in the same community, the work to microtasks, hiring people of a specific job, on handyman, where the best bidder is given tasks running from hanging picture to assembling item of furniture, or the banks of time too. Well, in the culture, the book crossing and book bartering, promoting cultural exchange among young people from different countries. In the education, the digital community for learning language. There are the very big and very important platform to the learning language in Europe, the time and skill, time banks, the leisure sharing digital context, the finance, crowdfunding and collective financing, crowdfunding from crowd benefits, and tourism too, the dining experience in private home and peer-to-peer food swapping. Well, in the European Union, is the reflection is the line on action that will if so for part of its strategy for the sound development of collaborative consumption, tackling it in different stages. Firstly, is the basic right and principles already enshrined in the European Union law to protect the public should be compiled, consolidate, because there are perhaps 28, 29 the different rules with some article with application. It's more to compilate for clarify for the transparency from the all people on the lawyer and the consumer too. Well, the second is the relevant studies need to be drawn up to identify any potential barriers to the operation of this activity and any problem that will need to be solved. The potential barrier in European Union is very important because there are 28 different state members and the different barriers may inter-state member, but it's possible the potential barrier in each state member, from the regulation, from the activity, economic activity, etc. Emphasize the European added value of adopting a measure with European scope. To reflection to the European scope is interesting, it's added value for adopting a new rule. 3, a database containing exchange of experience and best practice. We made to centralize in Brussels all the experience with mega database of the public access. All people may to know the experience because here is not important the big experience, it's the quality to the experience. Because perhaps a small town, there are a very big example for another people made to study the case. 4th is organize awareness raising and information campaign of this form of consumption. And lastly, on the basis of the experience that is gaining, its goal endeavor to harmonize legislation on cross-border use and those bringing European added value to the matter. It is the final to the European activity is the harmonized legislation. It's the one legislation for all the European Union. Well, in this case, it's very important can meet social needs in situations where it's no commercial interest. It can help is for-profit activity to create jobs while complying with the rules on taxation, safety, liability, consumer protection, and other essential rules. A legal and tax framework from the activity covered by collaborative consumption be setting down a regulation where appropriate aspects as liability, the insurance, the right of use, rights protecting against planet obsolescence, owners' taxes, quality standard to the product of the service, the establishment of right and obligation, and where appropriate, the removal of any restriction, and disguised barriers to intra-community trade and any distortion of legislation with another rule to the framework. Well, thank you for your attention. I make at your disposition for the tutor. Thank you very much.